Hello everybody, I am the Blunt Claw Lizard. Recently, a customer asked me to build an entry-level general-purpose desktop computer for him to do financial transactions with. I bought all the parts to build the computer from a physical shop and built the computer or PC within 4 hours. Then I spent several more hours installing all the important drivers, Windows updates, and software required to keep the PC working just fine before giving it to him. I even activated Windows on this PC by using a 5 ringgit key I bought from Shopee. He paid 1,044 ringgits for the PC, which is a decent price. Let's look at the parts of the PC in detail. The processor or CPU is the AMD Athlon 3000G with 2 cores and 4 threads. I got a surprise when it was given to me without its retail box. It still works, so it is fine. This brain for the computer has integrated Radeon Vega 3 graphics, so it does not need a graphics card to show graphics on screen. That CPU came with this cooler Master Z50 CPU cooler. It clips onto the motherboard CPU socket and it cools the CPU just fine. The thing I did not like about it is that it is so short that it may block additional RAM from being installed into the system in the future. It comes with a sachet of thermal paste, which is nice. The PC storage device is this PNY CS900 SSD, which is a solid-state drive. The CS900 uses a SATA 3 interface and this model has 250 GB of space. Any software and programs loaded into this SSD should open quickly. The PC's RAM is this 8 GB PNY DDR4 2666 MHz DIMM RAM stick. I wanted to get dual-channel RAM, as in 2 4 GB RAM sticks. Unfortunately, due to miscommunication or misunderstanding or both between me and the shopkeeper, he sold one 8 GB RAM stick to me. I felt scammed, but the shopkeeper was not wrong. His quotation only mentioned 8 GB of RAM, so it could be single channel or dual channel RAM, but the shopkeeper did not tell me that it was just one RAM stick. That is all right. The PC will rely on the SSD for fast loading speeds. RAM has temporary memory which partially helps to load certain things faster but mainly allows better multitasking. This is still a good RAM stick. I even managed to overclock it to 2933 MHz, but I later reduced its speed to 2666 MHz to avoid getting called out by the customer when something goes wrong. The Asus Prime A320M-K micro ATX motherboard was used to act as the central nervous system that connects almost every part of the PC together. This motherboard has one M.2 slot, 4 SATA 3 or SATA 6 gigabits per second internal headers, 2 DDR4 RAM slots, 2 front USB 3.0 internal headers, 6 rear USB Type-A ports, of which 4 of them are USB 3.0 ports, 3 audio jack ports, 2 PS2 ports for older keyboards, a HDMI port for modern monitors, and a VGA port for older monitors. The AMD Ryzen 3000 Desktop Ready label on its box indicated that it has a newer BIOS or UEFI which supports all or most AMD Ryzen 3000 series desktop processors. The computer case is the AVF ACCS560 with the green accent. It holds every part of the PC together, including the micro ATX motherboard. It also comes with a 500-watt power supply unit. The power supply unit is an AVF 500-watt power supply unit without 80+ certification. However, my parents' computers have used AVF power supply units without 80+ ratings for years, so I thought that it would be alright to use a similar low-quality power supply unit in this build that is not meant for gaming. I probably won't put the same suspicious power supply unit in other computers that are meant for gaming or any other demanding workload. Here is a short build montage.
Alright, let's see if this computer can turn on. I see a light. The fan is spinning. Yes, it does turn on. It posts AMD Athlon 3000G. Yes, that is correct. 8 GB of RAM. I didn't connect any keyboard. Yes, it has a 250 GB SSD. So I should get my keyboard here to enter setup. So that's great. The computer that I built actually worked.
I tested the PC in Cinebench to see how powerful its CPU is. The AMD Athlon 3000G dual-core CPU obtained a single-core score of 798 points and a multi-core score of 2194 points. A quick research online seems to show that it has around the same level of performance as the Intel Xeon E5 2697V2 and the Intel Core i7-4850HQ mobile processor. In terms of multi-core performance, this Athlon 3000G is at least 71% worse than the Intel Core i7-1165G7 mobile processor for laptops. That is still a decent result since this Athlon has a possibly older architecture, 2 fewer cores, and 4 fewer threads than this laptop i7 CPU. I know that this PC is not meant for gaming, but I still tested its gaming performance in one game anyway. I tested this PC's gaming performance in RuneScape in windowed mode with a television that has 1080p resolution, AnyDesk remote desktop connection software, and Fraps. The recording was done through OBS and Xbox Game Bar. I think the use of AnyDesk and the 2 recording software caused a lot of the lag seen in this recording, but it is alright. Most people do not record themselves playing PC games every time, so it does not reflect most real-world use cases. I digress. I will talk about this PC's gaming performance in RuneScape. At windowed mode of 1080p, which is slightly less than 1080p, and at the low graphics preset settings, the PC plays the game at around 30 FPS most of the time. It is still somewhat playable. After I set the graphics settings to the minimum graphics preset, increase the background and foreground FPS to 300 FPS, which probably did not help much, and reduce the game render scaling to 50%, the game ran at over 60 FPS most of the time. This is very playable. I think what happened was that by reducing the game render scaling by 50%, the game was rendered at 50% of 1080p, which is 540p, and got upscaled to 1080p resolution. This improved the PC's gaming performance in RuneScape, probably because the integrated graphics processing unit of the CPU did not have to work as hard rendering all the graphics of the game. RuneScape was a game that I used to enjoy playing a lot as a child, so I can imagine that a lot of young and older people may want to play RuneScape even until now. Adding another RAM stick into the PC to create a dual-channel RAM configuration would improve the game's performance even further, but it does not matter since this PC's new owner will not use it for gaming. I am impressed that this potato PC can play RuneScape even without a discrete graphics card. This is the end of the video. You can share this video with anybody who may find it useful. You can comment on the video to tell me what you think about this PC. Please like the video or dislike it because it still helps me. You can subscribe to this channel to avoid missing new videos by a few hours. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you for watching this video.